Imagine a country so small that most Americans could drive across it before they finished their morning coffee. Now imagine that country quietly sitting on some of the most spectacular stories on Earth. Welcome to Eswatini, a kingdom between South Africa and Mozambique that few people think of visiting, but that few forget once they've been there. Here is a spot where the world's oldest known mine was thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt were even erected. It is Africa's sole absolute monarchy, where ancient royal traditions still impact ordinary life. It is the home of more than 40,000 young ladies who gather for one of the most amazing cultural events on the continent, and nearby billion-year-old mountains that loom under some of the clearest night skies you will ever witness. Eswatini looks too small to matter at first impression. But the nicest places are typically right there in plain sight. They don't compete for attention, they reward those who choose to look further. They do it quietly. You will meet people who are truly nice, places that seem untouched by time, and practices that have survived for generations without losing their meaning. You will learn more than about another country. You'll find another way of measuring what makes a country great. So before we get started, remember one question. What if the world's biggest surprises aren't in the world's biggest countries, but in the places almost no one looks? By the end of this tour, Eswatini may well change your view of Africa and the way you choose your next vacation. But this is when Eswatini ceases to be a dot on the map and begins to be remembered. Imagine yourself on a mountaintop just after sunrise. It is cool enough for a light jacket. A cascade sounded through the valley. In the distance, green hills replace golden savanna. It just doesn't seem like a country. It's like four separate worlds woven together by nature. Eswatini is only about 6,700 square miles, but within those limits, the topography changes with amazing speed. The Western Highveld is a setting that can remind American visitors of the Rockies, with rivers meandering through pine forests and mist-covered mountains. The drive to the Middelveld, where the earth opens into fertile farmland and the sugarcane and citrus orchards seem to stretch to the horizon, takes less than an hour. Further east, the Lowveld gives way to warm African forest, with towering baobabs and beautiful wildlife. Then further up, the old Lubombo Mountains soar, watching silently over the realm for millions of years. And then, there's the finding that nearly every tourist finds shocking. Some of the rocks under your feet are more than 3 billion years old, formed long before complex life existed on Earth. On clear winter evenings with little light pollution, the Milky Way is seen in all its amazing clarity across the sky. Then the noise of existence is gone. You do not feel like you matter. You feel part of history, of nature, of something far bigger than yourself. And that soft touch of magic is only the beginning of what makes Eswatini unlike anywhere else on Earth. But landscapes do not give you the tale of a country. The real heart of Eswatini is the moment you meet its people. It is in the shopkeeper's smile, who greets you like an old friend. You hear it in the rhythms of Siswati, the dominant language of the country spoken with heart and pride in villages and towns. Equally so, you do not understand the words, but you get the feeling. Hospitality here is no tourist display. This is simply one part of existence. There is another reason for Eswatini's difference from other African countries. It is the last absolute monarchy on the continent. The country's ruler is King Mswati III, but one of the most unique traditions of the country is its dual monarchy. The Queen Mother, or Ndlovukati, sits behind the king and plays a strong spiritual and cultural role. They are a collective leadership of authority and tradition, a leadership that preserves the customs that have shaped the kingdom for generations. But the royal palace does not characterize the Mswati people. It's a simple ideology called Ubuntu. Its message is universal. I am because we are. It reminds them that their community is a source of strength. You'll see neighbors helping neighbors, grandparents telling stories to children, families connecting, when connection beats screens. That may be Eswatini's greatest lesson In a rapidly moving world, progress does not always mean leaving your roots behind. Here, telephones and traditional rites, contemporary enterprises, and ancient practices live side by side. And thus, instead of competing against each other, they make the country's identity even stronger, showing that keeping your legacy can be one of the most powerful ways to shape your future. But what if I told you that in half an hour you could leave a sophisticated cafe with Wi-Fi and end up in a society whose customs have been handed down from one generation to the next for centuries? That's hardly a promise you'd find in a vacation brochure in Eswatini. It's simply regular life. We start our journey in the capital of the country, Mozambique. The city is located in the cool highveld and feels peaceful, clean and surrounded by lush mountains. Relaxed vibe is created by little coffee shops, local shops and quiet streets of an American mountain hamlet. Life here moves at a slow pace, and travelers are encouraged to relax and see the subtleties that are sometimes missed in larger towns. Manzini is an hour away at most, and it is a totally different vibe. Its colorful markets buzz with conversation as traders sell fresh fruit, handcrafted crafts, spices, and traditional medicines. Laughter, haggling, and music combine to create an experience that is real, not fake. This is when many tourists begin to hear the heartbeat of Eswatini. But the greatest surprise is just outside the large cities. Enjoy a short journey to traditional homesteads where families still come together in beehive-shaped dwellings built with skills handed down through generations. Family wealth and heritage are still measured in cattle, and elders still share stories that link youngsters with their predecessors. Perhaps it is why Eswatini is so unforgettable. Modern buildings, smartphones, and bustling freeways haven't erased its customs. They do not disagree with them. They are with them. Here, history is not kept in a museum. It lives on at the family table, in village celebrations, in the quiet reminder that a nation's future is made stronger when its roots are closely attached to the people who call it home. Then all is quiet. Not the stillness that feels empty, the one that makes your heart beat faster than your footsteps. Somewhere up the trail in the thick grass lies hidden one of the largest of all the terrestrial animals. For the next several moments, there is nothing between you and a wild white rhino but trust, respect, and an experienced ranger. Welcome to Lane Royal National Park and Makaya Game Reserve, two of the greatest conservation success stories in Eswatini. As the light comes up, the African bush slowly comes to life. They eat acacia trees, giraffes, grace of the antelope in the light of the dawn. Then, a white rhino suddenly strides into view. You can take a safe distance with the trained rangers and grab a photo, but there is nothing like being there. But this is a story about far more than wildlife tourism. Poaching in the 20th century pushed African rhino herds to the verge of extinction. Eswatini responded with some of the continent's toughest anti-poaching legislation and injecting resources into skilled wildlife protection teams and protected conservation areas. Those efforts have helped the country protect one of the region's most important white rhino herds and have proved that determined conservation can have a real impact. One ranger stated something that has kept with me long after I've left. We do not defend these animals since they are ours. We are protecting them because they are for the future. That one line changes it all. The rhino is more than just another species on the safari checklist. Now it becomes a living bridge between generations. In Eswatini, conservation is not just about bringing in visitors. It's about ensuring that, decades from now, a kid can experience the same awe you feel when a wild rhino quietly glances back at you. If you want to know a country, do not start with its monuments. Take a seat at its table, hear its song, be there for its parades. There you cannot overlook the heartbeat of a nation. Every year, Eswatini comes alive with one of Africa's most magnificent cultural spectacles, the reed dance. Tens of thousands of young ladies in colorful traditional dress, with newly cut reeds in honor of the Queen Mother, gather before delivering a wonderful exhibition of solidarity, rhythm, and cultural pride. For the uninitiated, it's hard to imagine the enormity. But for the Eswatini people, it represents a lot more than a display. It is a living tradition which continues to strengthen identity while celebrating community, respect, and the role of women in society. MTN Bushfire Festival is a distinct kind of thrill. The Malkerns Valley is transformed into one of Africa's most creative cultural festivals by musicians, artists, and visitors from all over the world. Traditional dance performances set to modern music, illustrating how tradition and modernity inspire each other rather than fight. And then there is food, the kind that tells stories before anyone talks. Families gather around steaming bowls of sishwala, a hearty cornmeal staple, served with rich stews. A favorite morning pleasure is warm fried bread, fresh magwinya, and creamy amasi has been enjoyed for generations. During marula season, the towns celebrate with buganu, a traditional fruit wine created from recipes handed down in families. And at the end of the evening, you realize that something extraordinary has happened. It's not just the taste or the sound that sticks with you, even after the music is done and the food is gone. It's the feeling of being a part of it all that Eswatini so graciously shares with every open-hearted guest. Just when you think you've seen all that Eswatini has to offer, unlocks a door into a past so ancient it almost disintegrates human history. Here, visiting historical sites is not only something to do. You are standing where the first pages of civilization and the earth were written. Lion Cavern is situated near Ingwenya Mine, the world's oldest known mining site in the highlands of northeastern Eswatini. Archaeological evidence shows that people were mining red hematite here as far ago as 48,000 years, before agriculture, before written language, and tens of thousands of years before the pyramids of Egypt. That red mineral was not mined for riches, it became a color for art, rites, and burial, showing that creativity and individuality have long been part of the human condition. Nearby is Sibeba Rock, one of the world's largest exposed granite domes. That was over 3 billion years ago, and it has quietly observed practically every page of our planet's story. The getting to the peak is not a walk. It reminds us how brief our lives are in comparison with the age of the Earth beneath our feet. The drive continues into the Malolicha Nature Reserve, home to some of the oldest exposed rock formations in the world, stunning valleys, waterfalls, and mountain paths. Each step is like walking through a live geology book, only the lessons are inscribed in cliffs instead of pages. Perhaps that is Eswatini's greatest gift. There is no need to recall dates or history. It invites you to experience time itself, and when you turn away, you take more than images. You gain a larger feeling of how incredibly long the story of our globe has been, and how blessed we are to view even one page of it. Just when you think you've plumbed the depths of Eswatini's mysteries, the country smiles and reveals another layer. One landmark does not decide the finest areas. It's the million subtle nuances you remember long after the vacation is gone. Eswatini is not a large country, but it is one of the top birding locations in southern Africa with over 500 identified species of birds. One is the endangered blue swallow, an exquisite migratory bird, for which the surviving breeding habitat is of tremendous importance for the survival of the species. To a conservationist, it is more than a nice memory to see one. It is a reminder that even the smallest habitats can be of global importance to protect. Then there's the marula tree, whose golden fruit heralds one of the country's most awaited seasons. Communities join to celebrate a harvest that has connected generations for ages. Families unite to brew buganu, a marula wine. It is a festival of nature, family, and gratitude, not of abundance. The inventiveness of Eswatini is equally inspiring. Glass bottles, thrown away by others, are turned into beautiful sculptures and handmade art pieces by skilled handicraftsmen, illustrating that beauty can be found even in what is discarded. Women's weaving co-ops across the countryside create baskets and home decor that sustain families, protect ancient skills, and reach homes around the world. These stories may not be international news, but they form the sum total of the real character of Eswatini. This is a country where conservation matters, where traditions evolve but don't die, and where sustainability is built from the daily, not the phrase that may be the nation's greatest puzzle. The world's greatest treasures are neither the loudest or the biggest. They are the ones who know that the greatest gifts that can be passed on to future generations are the protection of culture and ecology, and keep silent. But after our travels are over, there is one question. How can such a small country have such a tremendous impact? Maybe it's not the size that counts, it's the size of its soul. We've crossed landscapes shaped over billions of years, discovered one of the oldest known mining sites, met wild white rhinos face to face, honored traditions that still connect generations, and been to a country where old customs and new life walk together. Each visit was a new surprise, a reminder that the world's most beautiful places are frequently the least seen. Eswatini does not compete with the top destinations in the world. It's not about the tall buildings and hordes of people. What it does provide instead is something increasingly rare, a real sense of individuality. Here, the history is still alive, the town still tight-knit, the wildlife still actively preserved, and the cultural traditions still affect the day-to-day living, not just for the visitors. Perhaps it is why such a unique place remains with you long after you've left. It reminds us that development doesn't have to be bigger or louder or better known. Sometimes the greatest thing is to protect what matters most and look to the future with confidence. If this tour has opened your eyes to Eswatini, then just imagine all the other lovely places out there waiting to be discovered beyond the headlines. Every country has its unique story. Some are simply waiting for someone to hear them. Thanks for riding with Travel to Facts. If you love this documentary, subscribe for more trips beyond the map, beyond the obvious, beyond the cliches. Until next time, travel nicely, investigate curiously, and never despise the smallest places on Earth. They stamp themselves upon the human heart. Every trip gives us more than memories. It gives us perspective. Eswatini is a reminder that true greatness is not a question of size, wealth, or worldwide recognition, but a matter of the ideas a country elects to preserve. When people hold fast to their culture, they nourish nature, they transmit wisdom from one generation to the next. They develop a legacy that no amount of money can replace. Let us wander our planet with curiosity, humility, and regard. All cultures have something to teach us, and sometimes the smallest of places inspire the biggest shifts in how we see others, ourselves, and the future we share together.